Hey, 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 come on in, come on in. It's me, Christy, with the Tuesday tea. Get in here. I'll give you just a second to get your share on. Shout out everyone who needs to be in this building. Your friend who needs to be here. It is your friends who are ready for a better mindset, who's ready for a community of people that can help assist them with improving their mindset and growing inside and outside. What I've learned over my years in business that if you grow inside, then the growth that you want to see in your business will take place on the outside. That so many things that you can share. If you've been here on Tuesday Tea, you already know what it is. So come on in here, say hi, don't be a stranger, and let's get your share on. Be a girlfriend. Come on in here, girlfriends. What we do is we learn and grow together. So today's tea is coming from The Science of Getting Rich. We are ending this book right now on the science of getting rich with chapters 13 through 17. And next week, we'll be going into the art of thinking clearly. I've already started it. The art of thinking clearly is our very next book. And if you want to be in our community, speaking of community, if you want to be in our community, you can join our Facebook group. That is, you can search Facebook for After the Tuesday Tea. And here's actually the link down here scrolling at the bottom is facebook.com/group/after the tea, because I'll be dropping tea, partly telling my business, but dropping tea for this. So first time being in here, definitely let me know in the comments, where are you watching us from here in the group, here in our tea? Where are you watching this tea from? And so I can get an idea of where we're reached. I have a team in my business that ranges in all 50 states from Puerto Rico and Guam. So you could be watching me from that over on Facebook. And when I say where from, like location wise, as well as what social media platform are you catching? So you're catching this on YouTube? Are you catching it on my Facebook personal page, my Facebook business page? Somebody share it with you, where you're watching it from, all those things. All right. After the Tuesday tea is where we'll be talking about these books. Go ahead and grab this one, The Art of Thinking Clearly. I think I may have put it in our Facebook group in a free PDF. When I find a free PDF of books, I put it in there. I need to have these books written in. So chapters 13 through 17 are on in a nutshell. Nope, sorry. So my book is not going to look like your book. My book has 3 books by this author, because one book was, I think, like $11 and or $7 or $8, something like that. And it just made sense to get the book that has 3 of Wallace Whittle's books in it. Waddle's books. So Getting Rich, The Science of Getting Rich, but he also wrote The Science of Being Well and The Science of Being Great. Okay. So my book will look a little different. I got this from Amazon. Now, The Science of Getting Rich, we're on chapters 13. Now, what I like about The Science of Getting Rich is, if you see the first part says science. Science deals with formulas and deals with mathematics and deals with a specific way of getting things or outlining the ways things be done. Like, you're not going to get water by doing H3O. Water is only going to happen from H2O. So what I like about this is he's basically saying, there's a science to getting rich. There is a formula for it. And if you follow these specific things, you will be rich. But what I like about formulas is you can't do part of it and expect to get rich. And what I've talked about on these last 2 teachings, you can go check. I think I've done 3 of them. This was the 4th one, which is going to end it. What I have talked about is getting rich is not just money. Excuse me. Let me grab some tea for that. That might be the tea. That might need to just stop right there for a moment. Hey, come friends, come on in here. So getting rich is not just about money. It's getting rich in wealth, getting rich in health, and getting rich in spirit, mind, body, and spirit. So I like for you, when you hear me share my takeaways, my understanding from this, I like for you to consider that we are talking about getting rich from all those 3 standpoints. So the titles, I titled this Tuesday tea, the tea of caution. All right. cautious. And that is because chapter 14, I think it is, some cautions and concluding observations is what he gives. But I'm going to go over 13, getting into the right business. Oh my goodness, people ask me that all the time about getting the right business, because I have been in business, one business for 11 years, 12 years, 12 years. I've been in business for 12 years, and people are, how did you know this is the right business for you? Oh, honey, I did not know this is the right business for you. But we're going to see if there's a science, because he said this is the science of getting rich and picking the right business, getting into the right business. So maybe not the right business for you, but just a business that is good. Okay, the right business. The impression of increase, was that's the T right there. I'm going to that. The impression of increase, chapter 14, the advancing man, the man that advances, chapter 15, and some cautions and concluding observation. And then chapter 17 is a summary of this entire thing. So let's jump in here. Chapter 13, getting into the right business, starts on page 69. Yes, 69. This book is less than 100 pages. So you can literally learn how to get rich in mind, body, and spirit in less than 100 pages. All right. So it says, these are things I'm just going to go through and underline some things that I pointed out I thought were really like, ooh, aha moments. There's the T right there. The different faculties are tools. It's essential to have good tools, but it's also essential that tools should be used in the right way. All right. So he starts this chapter off by saying success in any particular business, any business, depends for one thing upon your possessing in a well-developed state the faculties required in that business. So you want to be successful in business, you have to know what's required. All right, the faculties required in the business. With good musical faculty, no one can succeed without good musical faculty, no one can succeed as a teacher of music. You got to have the right tools as a music teacher to teach music. Without well-developed mechanical faculties, no one can achieve great success in the mechanical trade. Fill in anything you want to. Without tact and commercial faculties, no one can succeed in mercantile pursuits. Now, this book was written in 1930, so let's fill in anything. Without, many would say a degree, but that's not true. You can be a great teacher without a degree, but there are certain tools required, like patience. When you are teaching people, no matter what level, you have to have patience, because they are people who do not currently understand the concept and may be coming in with preconceived ideas of what they think is right. Patience. Okay. Like my husband teaching, his patience is like of Job. I, as the trained educator, don't have the same level of patience for a 3-year-old. And so he can teach her more because of his level of patience than I can. And I know all the time, place, developmentally appropriate things that he can get her to do sooner and quicker because it's patience for her. Faculties, the tools for success. All right. Now, many are going to say, well, that's why I can't be no teacher. But then he talks about that. All right. The various faculties of your mind are the tools with which you must do the work. So again, what will people say? Oh, I just need a better computer. The computer is not going to matter if you haven't gotten your mind right around being successful, the formula for success. Come on now. That's the T. I hear all the time in my line of business, well, I can't do this because I don't have the lighting you have. If you go back and look at my lives before I had the lighting that I had, I was still live and was still getting followers and was still getting sales and was still getting people who were complimenting or commenting on my posts. I was still building a brand and building a community. It was because my mind was right. I wasn't believing I needed something else first before I could be successful. And I can't stand here because this is just page 1 of chapter 13. Just page 1. Let's keep it moving. Mental tools needed to be rich. What are they? You have to be equipped with the mental tools. Well, I'm sure you're going to go into it. He says, the one for which you are naturally best fitted. Generally speaking, you will do best in the business which uses your strengths. If you've watched any of my Tuesday teas, I have said this over and over, and you have to know who you are, not just whose you are. All right, because whose you are, if you however you believe it, God, Lord, Buddha, whoever you believe you are, that empowers you to be the success you are, has given you tools. Do you know which ones they gave you? We have to first identify what we are good at, what our natural abilities naturally fitted are. There are limitations to this statement, he says, all right? Because you got to keep reading. This is why I can't go over everything, but you got to read this book for yourself. You have to come to an understanding for yourself, because he's not saying that if you're not fitted for it, this is not the gift that God gave you, then it doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you go into knowing what your deficits are, and you have to find a way to overcome those, or decide, are you willing to do the work to overcome those? Okay. You can get rich in any business, for if you have not the right talent, for you can develop that talent. It will be easier for you to succeed in a vocation for which you already have the talents in a well-developed state. It may be easier, but it does not mean, and what do we say? Everything that ain't the stuff that comes to you isn't easy. This next level of your success is not easy. That's the T. Easy equals best fitted. Satisfactorily rich equals what you want to do. All right. Doing what you want to do is life. And there's no real satisfaction in living if we are compelled to be forever doing something we do not like doing. We should not forever be doing something we don't like doing. But there is a time and place. Now you can read what he means by that. Something I outlined. Oh my gosh. And listen, you see all these marks in this book for just this chapter 13. I'm trying to get y'all to chapter 17. But I put here, all things else being equal, it is best to select the business for which you have the best developed a talent. But if you have a strong desire to engage in any particular line of work, you should select that work as the ultimate end at which you aim. Only do what you don't like as a means to do what you do like. Only do what you don't like as a means to do what you do like. Work. I have done plenty of things that I did not like, but it was a means to get to be able to do the things that I do like. Like people ask me, what do you really want to do when you grow up? Like, what is your end game? Nothing. Or at least the work that I do feels like nothing, because it comes so naturally to me. Tuesday tea feels like nothing. So somebody be like, I thought your goal was to do nothing. Well, this feels like nothing to me. This is easy. I enjoy it. I enjoy helping others come to an understanding that they would not have come to without me. I enjoy opening up ideas and concepts and books and experiences and places to people who otherwise, if our paths had not crossed, they may not have ever read the book. They may not have ever understood the book. They may not have ever visited the place. They may not have ever tried the business. It brings my heart joy, and it doesn't feel like work. But there are some people who might have to do what I'm doing to lead to the means that they want. Like, let's say you want to be a speaker on stages. That's not my end goal. But am I turning down speaking engagements? No. But it's not my aim for doing these things. You will only do, so this is the thing, only do what you like as what you don't like. So he's saying this clearly, you're going to have to do some things. The science of getting rich, the formula for being rich, means you're going to have to do some things that you don't like in order to get to the things that you want. Everybody get this? Everybody understand that? All right. So if you feel that you are not in the right vocation, do not act so hastily. Don't just quit the job. Try to get into another one. All right, I can't stand this. The best way, generally, on page 71, to change a business or environment is by growth. You ever known a person who is trying to, I can't do this job no more. I can't stand this job. These people, I just got to get out of here. But you haven't grown in this place of people that you can't stand and job you can't stand going to. And so when you're trying to leave and go somewhere else, nobody's accepting you because you haven't grown where you're at yet. But then if we are doing the comparison, we don't have our blinders on, we look at other people like, how's she able to leave? While you were complaining, she was growing around the people. He was growing around the people. I see you drop that in the comments. That's the T. The best way, generally to change your business or change your environment is by growth. I can tell you in my life experiences, and I'm glad I read these books because people acting like, how do you get here? And I'm like, I just did the work. But this is how I did the work. When I was a teacher and I didn't like being in that position, I didn't like being told what to do by somebody who I didn't think was qualified, then I became qualified. Where I was at, I grew where I was. I grew to be a coach of teachers as a teacher. So then when I got moved out the classroom to be a coach, it was clear I could already do it. Everybody on the panel knew I could do the job. It was a formality to interview me. This is what happens when you like, they post a job, but they already got something in mind. Yes, they got the person in mind who's already been doing it, even though that wasn't their title. Let me keep it moving. That's chapter 13. Chapter 14, the impression of increase. I'm not going to, I can't, got a book. Bought a book, read a book. You need more than that because there's so much more, you got to get it. The impression of increase. Whether you change your vocation or not, your actions for the present must be those pertaining to the business in which you are now engaged. He's going a little bit deeper in this because he talked about this in the previous chapters that I talked about, 8 through 12 it was. Increase is what all men and all women are seeking. The desire for increase is inherent in all nature. People will talk to you. I know, listen, if you haven't heard it, I heard it, okay? She always trying to go for more. I'm questioning what nature you grew up in and what you're guided by, because that is the way we are fitted as humans, is to want more. It's inherent in all nature. People are seeking more food, more clothes, better shelter, more luxury, more beauty, more knowledge, more pleasure. Page, increase in something, more life. Page 74. Now, what I have found in my impression, this is Christy talking, this ain't come from the book, is that people who say they don't want more is because they decided they don't want to work for more. Oh, they really want more. They decided that where they're at will do is sufficient, because they know that the more food, more shelter, better house, better living conditions, it's either two things. They don't want to do the work for it, or they put in their mind that they're not capable of it. This is why this book is about the science of getting rich, which is why the next two books, the next one is The Art of Thinking Clearly. Put it right here. The Art of Thinking Clearly is our next book. Because if you're the person who's stuck, who doesn't want to go with what is inherently in you to want more and be more and go greater and have better, if it's inherently in you, but you're fighting against it, it might be because you haven't got the art of thinking clearly in believing, which is book number 3, The Magic of Believing. So this is month of January. We're in this book, February. This will be March books. The Magic of Believing. I'm telling you, read these books the first 3 months of 2024 and the rest of 2024. If you put these things that you have learned into action, which is what he talks about, the science of getting rich is by taking what you've learned and putting it into action. If you read these 3 books and you don't apply nothing, it is for naught. Somebody drop that in the comments. You have to apply, put into action what this tea has brought to you, because that is the tea. That's the tea right there. Okay. Now, continuing, chapter 14. I got to get to chapter 17. He says, man instinctively knows this, and hence he is forever seeking more. The law of perpetual increase. If you can spell perpetual, drop that in the comments. The law, this is the law of perpetual increase set forth by Jesus. Take that to the church. In the parable of the talents, only those who gain more retain any. Who hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. Ooh, I'm going to tell you what my understanding of that is, the non-biblical scholar, okay? This law of perpetual increase is set forth by Jesus in the parable of talents. Only those who gain more retain any. Now, if I would apply this to our current life, you gain more when you retain more. Reading, you gain more because you retained more. Only those who do that. From him who hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. I like that. Put that in. That's what you use AI for. Put that sentence in AI and see what it says. Listen, I'm gonna do it right now. Let's see what AI says. How does AI? Now, this is what I do when I'm trying to explain something to somebody. And I feel like I understand it, but maybe not down to the level that they understand. I will go to AI and I'll pipe it in and I'll ask them to put it in third grade. A third grade can understand. So let me type that in there. It says, I'm gonna put this down. Open the book so I can see it. Oh, there we go. So I can type it in here. This on the job training right here. Only those who gain more retain any. From him who hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. Put this in language a third grader could understand. Let's see what Chat GPT comes up for this, and then we're gonna move on to chapter 15 and 16 and 17. I got more chapters to go. All right, let's see what it says. If you have more and don't share, even the little you have may be taken away from you. This is why I'm sharing, because the Lord is not gonna be like, you can't get no more because I've given you so much and you're not sharing the information you've gained. If you have more and don't share, even the little you have can be taken away. ChatGPT says, sure, let's simplify that. That's the science of getting rich. Take anybody who is rich in mind. Are they sharing it? Their tools? In this day and age, you can, anything you want to know, you can find somebody who's been there times 10 and they're sharing it. If they're rich in body, are they sharing how they've gotten there? Yes, all on Instagram and Facebook, on YouTube. That is the formula for getting rich, not hoarding it for yourself. To whom much is given, much is expected. That's basically what it's saying. That's what I'm taking away. All right, keeping it moving. Wherever you, this is going to be T right here, page 76, for the chapter of the impression of increase. Wherever you find a boastful person, you find one who is secretly doubtful and afraid. Simply feel the faith and let it work out in every situation. I'm going to repeat that. Wherever you find a boastful, people say, you are so humble. And I'm like, listen, my goal is to inspire others, not through my talk, but through my walk. I don't have to go around and being boastful about all that I've accomplished. There are enough people who've seen my journey who boast for me. Who, when I go play, they're like, do you know who this is? Do you know what she's accomplished? I got this. My work speaks for itself. Now, on the other hand, I should probably not boast, but just state more facts about what I've accomplished, the numbers and things of that nature. And I'm working on that. But I haven't felt the need to do that because doors open already as a result of what I've done without me running the streets and parading what I've accomplished. This is the science, the impression of increase. He says, you must so impress others that they will feel that in associating with you, they will get increase for themselves. See that you give them a use value greater than the cash value you are taking from them. What you give them should be greater than what they are giving you. If they are buying a product from you, what you give them should outweigh how much they're paying for the product. If they are buying a service for you, now this may mean when you are packaging it up, like you don't have to give them more of the product, but the way that you provide customer service, which is free, you can provide good free customer service without having to pay anymore. And that is giving them more value than if somebody else sold them the exact same product. This is how you give the impression of increase, the science of it. Come on now, that's the tea. Are y'all catching? We all know people that we bought things from, not necessarily because their product was better than the next person's product, but because the value they gave us. I literally say to people, you can't be around me and I not make you a better person. I not make you. Now, the only time people don't become a better because they're just not willing to be reflective. I will ask you questions that'll make you think. I will ask you questions that'll cause you to put a mirror up. Now, everybody doesn't like looking at the mirror at themselves. I have married a man that gives me my mirror to look at least twice a week, probably twice a day. And I appreciate that because I inspire to be greater. And the only way to do that is to actually take a realistic look of yourself in the mirror. Now that's the T. All right, keeping on. That's chapter 14. And we only got a couple more minutes in here, baby. All right, chapter, let's see if I can pick something good. That was our chapter. Well, all of it's good because, I've been underlining like nobody's business. Chapter 15, the advancing man. We haven't even gotten into cautious, y'all, which is chapter 16. Giving equals attraction equals getting rich. What I have said in the last chapter, he said in the last chapter, applies as well to the professional man as the wage earner, as to the man who's engaged in mercantile business. So whatever you're engaged in, these apply to you. No matter whether you are a physician, a teacher, or a clergyman, if you can give increase of life to others and make them sensible of the fact, they will be attracted to you and you will get rich. What does that mean? This is the formula. The science of getting rich is a formula. So what is the formula I wrote down? Giving equals attraction equals getting rich. What are you giving people? You want to be rich in mind? What peace of mind are you passing to people? You can't have a peaceful lifestyle if all you passing around is uneasiness and stress and negativity. If you are passing around negativity, you're not getting that back and you're not getting rich. If you are looking for wealth, what are you giving people that attracts more people? Networking is what builds your circle, is what builds it is the giving of something and the receiving of something. So I put this in the comments. Giving equals attraction. You attract people to you, which equals getting rich. What do I do every Tuesday? I'm not getting paid for Tuesday tea, but I am giving the people something. And so as a result of giving, that helps my heart. It's giving this information not to mislead you, misguide you, is to help us. I'm helping me and helping you at the same time. I'm not reading these books and keeping it to myself. I'm sharing my understanding, which I've been told is a gift. The ability to break, because even parts of this book, I was like, when I'm reading it, I'm not even just always thinking about it, I'm like, oh, they're not gonna understand that. Let me break that down. That wasn't I had to read that a couple of times myself. So let me help the people with that one. I'm definitely underlined. We got to talk about that one. Because I'm thinking the people who I'm talking to, there's going to be a percentage of them who are going to read that and not get it. And they'll skip over and they're going to miss the point. I want to make sure they get the point. I am giving. Therefore, I attract. Therefore, my bank grows. Take anyone. We can talk about Donald Trump to his blue in the face, but he is giving to a group of people. You may not be his group of people, but he's given enough to a certain amount of group of people that has attracted a certain amount of people to him that has gotten him rich. That's the T. All right, keeping it moving. It says, for example, in the field of religion, the world cries out for the clergyman who can teach his hearers the true science of abundant life. He who masters the details of the science of getting rich, together with the allied sciences of being well, of being great, of winning love, and he who teaches the detail from the pulpit will never lack a congregation. This is the gospel that the world needs. It will give increase of life. The men will hear it gladly and will give liberal support to the man who brings it to them. What's that formula? You will never lack if you teach abundance, if you get rich, if you teach getting rich, if you teach winning love, If you teach being well and you teach being great, you will never lack. So ask yourself, how in your field of study, in your field of career, in your field of business, how can you teach abundance? How can you teach getting the science of getting rich? How can you teach winning love? How can you teach being well? How can you teach being great? If you can teach those things, you will never lack. Well, in order to be able to teach it, guess what you actually have to be able to do? Live it. You have to be able to live being great. Well, he has a book on it right here. So maybe if you don't know how to live being great, try The Science of Being Great is a book you read on your own. If you don't know how to live being well, he put it in a book. I'm sure he's not. This book was written like in the 1930s. There's been plenty of books written since then. People are not reinventing the wheel, people. They are going back and reading books that were popular in the 30s, in the 20s, in the 40s, and the 50s, and they are making it relate to now. So where he was talking about mercantiles, or he was talking about industrial age, somebody literally took that one chapter and applied it to the information technology age that we currently live to. And I'm sure they have become a top bestseller because they took one concept from a book from hundreds of years ago, less than 100 years ago, and made it to a bestseller. Okay, that's the T. I'm gonna keep it moving because we gotta get to cautious. I put a, this is it. So let me make sure I share this. It is true that existing governments keep the masses in poverty. That was true in 1920s and 30s. You think it's changed? No, it's gotten worse. Okay. But this is because the masses do not think. That could just be it. That could be it. The masses don't think. If you start thinking, and how are we going to do that? And the next book I'm teaching, we're going to read it, The Art of Thinking Clearly. If you can learn, we can learn to think clearly. We have already given ourselves the tools to get out of an impoverished mind, impoverished body, impoverished finances, because we can think clearly when the government is literally trying to keep us from doing such. If the masses begin to move forward, as suggested in this book, neither governments nor industrial systems can check them. Who gonna check me, boo? This is how people walk around confident. You like, how is she confident? Because who gonna check me? When I know how to think clearly, when I know how to have the magic of believing in myself, and I'm listening to the science. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. It's factual information. And I won't listen to anybody who's around tell me that 1 + 1 = 4. That ain't the science. All right. So he says, so what do you do? Well, he says right here, if people have the advancing mind, have the faith that they can become rich and move forward with a fixed purpose to become rich, nothing can possibly keep them in poverty. That's the T. Nothing can possibly keep them in poverty. So what is that formula? Faith plus action. Faith, because this is what I've listened. I've been in business for 11 years. I worked with teachers for years before that. The one thing I see people missing is, oh, they got faith for days. Oh, I believe they in church singing about it. They on their knees praising about it. They at the convention talking about it. But then they leave that moment of inspiration and inspiring and pages and notebooks of notes and don't take action. And that is what the government is. They're going to block this live because they don't want to hear that. They don't want us to know that. But okay, it's in what they say. What's the quote? If they put it in the book, it's been in the book since 1930s. All right. It says, the economic salvation of the masses can only be accomplished by getting a large number of people to practice action, the scientific method set down in this book, and become rich. These will show others the way. and inspire them with the desire for real life, with the faith that it can be attained, and with the purpose to attain it. Inspire them with a desire for life. That's what I'm compelled to do. I'm compelled to inspire you. So what do? Guard your speech. Never speak of yourself, your affairs, or anything else in a discouraged or discouraging way. Times are hard for the competitive, never for those who are creative. Times are hard for, this is notes I put on my side. Times are hard for those who compete, but it's never hard for those who are creative. It says, guard your speech, never speak of yourself, your affairs, or anything else in discouraged or discouraging way. I see it all the time. I've said it. People who are millionaires who I follow say it. You don't go, if you own a business and you want to grow your business, you do not post on social media about how life is hard. You deal with it behind closed doors and you show up and win. You owe it to the people who you are inspiring to keep that this is horrible day out into the world. People aren't ready for that truth. I didn't say it. Guard your speech is what he's saying. Never speak yourself, your affairs, or anything else in discouraged or discouraging way. Never admit the possibility of failure or speak in a way that infers failure as a possibility. You don't hear motivational speakers, you don't hear leaders of large teams and large companies who are successful in 6 figures, 7 figures, who are successful. People who lose 100 pounds aren't sitting around here talking about all the time. When you hear them come speak, they're being paid to speak to you. They're talking about, this is how it was. This is what I did to improve it. And this is why you can do it too. And anywhere that they talk about failure, infer failure as a possibility, no. Never speak of the times as being hard or of business conditions as being doubtful. Times may be hard, it says, and business doubtful for those who are on the competitive plane, but they can never be so for you. You can create what you want and you are above fear. That's it. I'm done. I'm just going to repeat that one more time, and that's the end of this Tuesday tea. You can create what you want and you are above fear. When others are having hard times and poor business, you will find your greatest opportunity. Take that into 2024. That's the tea. That is what I believe. That is what I walk in. That is when, at a time where teachers were furloughed back in 2012, I didn't say to myself, I have to live in this situation. I went and created something for me to win. I haven't met a million. I asked a question on my Facebook page the other day, like, how many years would you have to work to hit $1 million at your job? And because I did the math, and I have not hit 1 million in my business, and I've been in business for 12 years. Yeah, 12 years this year. It'll be 12 years in May. Next year, at max, in 2026, I'll hit $1 million. I did the math. That would put me at 14 years. 14 years divided by $1 million, I have averaged $70,000 a year over my 14 years in business. Now, on year 1 through 5, did I make $70,000? No, but I would have never had an average of 70,000 if I had quit when I wasn't making it in first 5 years. I wouldn't have reached that if I was going around talking about how discouraging or discouraged I was. I would not have reached that if I had admitted the possibility of failure every time I talked about my business. Or even if I had talked about failure being a possibility. When I was carrying around my product in grocery stores or in the teacher meetings, I wasn't talking to people like, here, try this. I'm not sure if it's going to work. Never came out my mouth. I never spoke of times being hard, my business conditions as being doubtful. If I had done that, I would have never averaged $70,000 a year for my business. And I could really probably make that next year. So I'm being 2 years is being very like worst years I've ever had in business ever happens these next 2 years, then I'd still hit 1 million. When others were having hard times and poor business, I found great opportunities because I created them. I didn't sit around and say, oh, everybody else ain't winning right now, I can't win either. No, I found a way to win, and you can too. And that's the T. I'll see you guys back here next week for the art of thinking clearly. Grab the book. I'm telling you, I've read it. How many pages so far? I've read 30 pages so far. And in my group, I will break down to you after the Tuesday Tea group. I will have in there what chapters I'll read each week so you can pace yourself if you want to follow along with me. As always, love y'all. Thank you for joining me in here for the Tuesday Tea with me. Bye.